Hi, we're going to talk about H1B and layoffs. Recently, and we have been getting that for years now, but recently there has been a massive kind of flux of layoff, and people who are on H1B are usually panicking because they don't have much time in their hand. First rule: whenever you are laid off from your employment, you technically your H1B also will go away as soon as the USCIS is informed that the employee has been terminated. There are three basic rules under the CFR for those who have been terminated under the H1B. One, the employer has to inform the employee, the H1B candidate, that they are going to be laid off, and two, they have to give a ticket back to return home, and three, they have to inform the USCIS of the situation. But unfortunately, the way the H1B laws are designed, immigration nationality laws are designed, it doesn't really give a grace period to people who are being terminated or are being laid off by their company. So, what happens now to you if you are in an H1B? If you are within your 6 years time, and if before the layoff kicks in, that means, let's say for example you're terminated on January 31st, and before that you're able to transfer to another company before the 31st, the petition is filed. I repeat that the petition is filed with the USCIS. It reaches there before 31st. You are safe. You should be able to move to the new company and work. But most of the time, unfortunately, because after the layoff there's not much time for the employee to move to another job, they're still looking for another job. What do? Well, for one, what they can do is they can still find another job and do what we call a new employment, cap exempt, and consular processing. And the consular processing means basically, because you will be out of status, you cannot move the status from this company to the other. But you can still go outside and come back and get your I-94 part approved. That means you go ahead, you file your H1B with a new employment, cap exempt, and then you request to do consular processing. And if you have a stamp on your passport for H1B, you don't need to go to the consulate to get another stamp on your passport. I repeat that, unless in some extraordinary circumstances when the where the even the stamp is revoked, that's a different issue. But technically, you don't have to go again to a U.S. consulate to get the stamp. So what you do in those cases, you go ahead and you file for your not it's not a transfer, it's a new employment, cap exempt. So that's one rule. Second, you have 180 days to leave the country, although it's not a grace period. That 180 days rule only protects you from when you're going to go outside and come back, because as mentioned, if you pass the date, for example in this case the hypothetical is January 31st, you will have to basically leave the country and come back. And if you don't do that within 180 days, you will be barred under the 3-year bar rule, which kicks in, and you might need a waiver to come back. So be very careful. Count your days, 180 days from the date of termination, and also make sure that you find a company quickly to do your quote unquote transfer without really being a transfer. It's a new employment. But of course, if you do that before the revocation, a withdrawal of the H1B from the company, you should be fine not to leave the country. You can do a change of status, a move of transfer of status from company A to company B, and under AC21 rules, you should be able to start working right away. If you are doing a consular processing, though, you will not be able to start working right away under the AC21. That rule only applies if you do it on time. But having said that, a lot of people are suffering from this issue, and is becoming more and more common because the economy is fluctuating. But there's no need to panic. Now, there's another situation where you have passed your 6 years and you have an I-140, and you got that I-140 with the company A, and you reach, for example, 7 years. What happens to you then? Then it's a different issue, because if that I-140 is not present, you won't be able to even transfer, no matter how much time you have left on the present H1B when they did the extension for you. The new transfer or the new movement will require the I-140 to be alive at this time. Unfortunately, we don't have a rule to protect the I-140. So if the company terminates the I-140, then you will have issues on your case. Having said that, the layoff is something very common in this industry, especially in the IT industry. So we want you not to panic. And if you need a good assessment of your case, if this is happening to you, please give us a call at 510-742-5887, 510-742-5887. And anything I'm telling you today is for educational purposes only. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. Thank you. We will be back with another podcast soon.